Everybody doing
good, man.
Shout out to people in Texas, man. Hope they doing crazy down in Texas, man. It's crazy down there, man. So I know a couple people, a couple family members in Texas. They're doing okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they're doing all right, but it's wild down there, man. So all right. So let's go. We're gonna have to go with the topic on hand. I'm gonna start off with Joe with this one, right? We're gonna talk about the Carson Wentz trade. All right. We're gonna talk about do you think it was a good trade? And do you think Carson Wentz will be successful in Indianapolis?
Yeah, I think it was a good trade. Pretty low risk. It was a third rounder this year, conditional second that could turn into a first if Carson Wentz plays well, essentially. And if you get a franchise quarterback out of it, that's pretty cheap. Third this year and a first next year. And if he doesn't play well, it only costs you a third and a second. So I think it's pretty low risk for a potential high reward. Carson Wentz played really well. MVP candidate last time he was with Frank Reich. So I think if there's a chance to save him, Frank Reich is the way. So love the trade. I think it works out. And the Eagles were done with him, so they were able to get a little something in return. I think they're really surprised at his value when they tested the open market, but they got something.
All right, Mo, what do you think about the trade, Mo?
I think it was a win. I think it was a win for definitely for the quarterback. Now we don't know what it's going to value for the team till later, but for Wentz, I think, like I said, you're going into a situation where you didn't start the whole second half of the season. You were benched, and now you go from that to being traded to a team with a top 5 offensive line, one of the top 5 offensive lines in the league, one of the top 5 defenses in the league over the last 3 years, I believe. And, great coaching, a great coacher there. So you got to look at it now. I think if the Wentz of old shows up, if the Wentz of 3 years ago shows up, I would be enough to say they're the clear-cut favorites in that division. Even with Derrick Henry, even with Tannehill there and who they have, if Wentz can show that he was 3 years ago Wentz and can realign with his old coordinator and they can show up, I clearly feel like they could clearly win that division. Do I think this pushes them over Buffalo or over Kansas City having Wentz? No, not at all. Not at all. But I do think this makes them a favorite in the division if he can show that he's matured and learn from this situation in Philly.
Okay. What do you think, Craig?
I think that the Colts got their quarterback that they were looking for. He's paired back with Frank Reich, so I mean that's a win for him. I would assume on paper it looks like a win for him. But I mean I don't know how fractured he is from last season. If he can shake that off, and if the Colts can say that we're not gonna, you don't have to worry about looking over your shoulder. There's no, I guess if Brissett is still there or whoever else they bring in as the backup, if they can assure him that that quarterback is not gonna take his place or something like that, if he plays bad a couple games in a row or bad for a stretch, then I think it'll work out for him, because I think that's kind of what happened in Philly. Like the draft of the pick of Jalen Hurts kind of hurt. In my opinion, I think kind of hurt Wentz's confidence, along with a bunch of other factors like his line is aging, his wide receivers weren't really there, and the defense wasn't as strong anymore. But I just think that also had a factor in him playing poorly. Like he was just way less than average in my opinion. And I think like Mo said, if he can kind of revert back to that MVP type caliber, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks from a few years ago season, or even the one after that where he was 27-7, he missed like 5 games or something like that, but he was playing like at an MVP type level. If he can go back to that not old school, but if he can go back to that old Carson Wentz version of himself, I think he'll be fine, because he's in a great situation he's got a great offensive line. Jonathan Taylor is a young, had a 1,000-yard season last year as a rookie running back. The wide receiver is a little, I think Pittman is solid, as he was a rookie last year. He's got T.Y. Hilton. If he can try to get T.Y. Hilton back, because I don't think he was utilized a lot last year or the last couple of years actually. very, very well. But if you can get him back to maybe like borderline number one wide receiver status, and then he has like one of the best defenses in the league. He's going to a tougher division, in my opinion, or well, that's not true either. But he has one really, really solid team in the Titans in that division. The other two teams are pretty much rebuilding. But it's pretty much up for the taking. Like I think he can revert back to Carson Wentz from old, and they'll be solid. For the Eagles, I think it's they got some picks out of it, and they get to basically just move on from Carson Wentz. And Jalen Hurts is there now. I don't know if they'll just go with Jalen Hurts. I doubt it. I think they'll probably bring somebody else in, maybe as a quarterback battle for him. Maybe like a Jacoby Brissett or somebody. I don't know, Marcus Mariota. But I think all in all was a win-win.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting how the NFL is not for long. The Eagles went from winning the Super Bowl to firing their head coach and trading their quarterback that they gave a buttload of money to, who they traded 5 picks to get in the first place because he was the second overall pick in 2016. That was 4 years ago. Right? So, he gets picked, second overall pick. He has a injured year, comes back, boom, in the MVP conversation. They were 12-4. He gets hurt. Then, Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl. Then conversation, contract talks going on. Boom, they pay him a lot of money. And it's just crazy that he's not on the team anymore. I talked to one of my good friends, Manny. He's a huge Philly fan. He said it's good for both sides. I guess a lot of people in the Phillies locker room didn't like Wentz. So, and it's a win. Listen, the Wentz isn't a Matthew Stafford. I don't know why the Eagles thought they were going to get multiple first round picks for him. That's not going to happen, right? But the Colts were able to get a pretty good second rounder. Might turn into a first. Depends. He has to start 75% snaps, go to playoffs. But if they go to playoffs, that's a low first rounder, according to Joe. We shot the show 2 weeks ago. 50% chance that player becomes a Pro Bowler, right? Pretty good. Now, Wentz, not only this, the Eagles had to take that dead cap hit of $33 million. So going forward, Carson Wentz is only projected against the cap $25 million, $24 million, and $25 million. Nowadays, that's a decent price for a quarterback. So, shout out to the coach, GM. And I think Carson wants to be able to, he'll be able to go back with his old coach. I think a different locker room, a different expectation. He'll have a better offensive line to protect him. He'll have a defense. So we'll see.